So Elizabeth, when you think we are around 30 people now, when you think is time, we are being, I mean, very, we are trying to start on time all the time. So we can give another 30 seconds and start. Okay, I think we can start now. Well, good morning. Welcome everybody to this seminar. This is seminar number 36. We have already organized 36 seminars since we started with this terrible situation. I hope you are all keeping well in these difficult times, and I hope the pandemic has not affected you too much. Tecniberia, the Spanish Association of Consulting Engineers, represents the consulting engineering firms in our country, which mainly work internationally. 75% of the activity of the Spanish consulting engineering firms is international, but with a very small presence in Africa. Definitely a presence that is much less than what our industry represents around the world and what it should be. The focus of the Spanish and of course of the European international development and cooperation is in Africa. Almost half of the international development instrument for the years 21 to 27 is dedicated to the development of Africa. And this is going to represent around 40 billion euros in these coming years. So the African Development Bank is going to be the main financial partner of the European Commission and the recipient of the technical assistance funds. This creates a big opportunity for consulting engineering firms in the preparation of projects, in its implementation, in support, and also in capacity building. The rapid demographic growth and the need to create greener and more sustainable growth in Africa represents a unique opportunity for the Spanish consulting engineering firms that are really recognized worldwide for their experience, especially in infrastructure, renewable energy, urban development. So this is the reason why Tecniberia has promoted this seminar. So without any more delay, we are going to start this interesting and most appropriate seminar that the International Committee of Tecniberia has prepared. So Araceli, whenever you, well, I pass you the word, and we should start without any delay, presenting our partners, and of course thanking them for their collaboration in the preparation of this seminar. So,
okay, Pablo. Good morning, everybody. I'm Araceli, Secretary General at Tecniberia. I'm just some rules for the questions. You have an icon in the bottom of the screen, and you hand up and you can ask your question yourself. Just will be clear, I switch 1 second to the Spanish. Tenéis un icono en la base de la pantalla en el que hay una manita dibujada, levantáis la mano y directamente vosotros podréis hacer la pregunta. Esto cambia de lo que normalmente solemos hacer en los seminarios. And then we can start with the first one. It's Ana Jiménez, Spanish counselor at the African Development Bank. Ana, when you want.
Hi, Araceli, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ana Jimenez. I'm the new advisor for the African Development Bank since September 2020. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna give you just a moment, an overview of the bank, some procurement data. It's going a little bit slow. Yes.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
perfect, Anna. We can see it perfectly.
Okay. Okay. That's it. Yes. Some procurement data and some tips and where to find information. Well, the African Development Bank Group was founded in 1963 and comprises three entities: the African Development Bank, the African Development Fund, and the Nigerian Trust Fund. The latter two were set up as special funds managed by the bank. The bank was initially founded with 23 African countries that acceded to independence, and unlike other regional banks, they rejected the participation of other non-African countries. Its shareholding was gradually expanded, but it was not until 1982 that the capital was opened to Western countries. Right now, the bank has 81 shareholders, 54 are regional members, and 27 are non-regional members. The main shareholders of the bank are Nigeria with a 9.1% of participation, the United States with 6.4%, Egypt 5.6%, and Japan, South Africa, and Algeria are around 5%. Over the years, the bank has established other special funds and trust funds, as we are going to see, to manage the contributions of other institutions with which the bank has developed a close relationship. Currently, the banks manage more than 70 funds. The bank's main governing bodies are the Board of Governors and the Board of Directors. All member countries are represented on the Board of Governors, usually by the country's Ministry of Finance or Economy. The Board of Governors is the supreme body which has all decision-making powers, and it can delegate it to the Board of Directors. The Board of Directors is composed as well by all country members, but they are organized in 20 chairs, 13 regional chairs and 7 non-regional. The Board of Governors selects the president of the bank, whose mandate is limited to 5 years and may be renewed only once. The president is responsible of the general management of the bank under the supervision of the Board of Directors. Spain has been a member and shareholder of the bank since 1986 and has around a 1% stake in the capital. Spain is represented on the Board of Governors by the Vice President and Minister of Economic Affairs and Digital Transformation, Ms. Nadia Calviño, and by the Secretary of State for Economic Affairs and Business Support, Ms. Ana de la Cueva. Spain is represented on the board of the bank in a seat on which it is grouped with France and Belgium. The African Development Bank Group can carry out operations in its 54 regional country members. The bank provides non-concessional loans, equity investments, and guarantees, while the fund provides concessional loans, grants, and guarantees. At the end of 2019, the bank portfolio amounted to 41 billion units of account, with 73% of the portfolio corresponding to sovereign financing and 68% to non-concessional financing. In addition, among the group's various types of operations, the following are particularly noteworthy. Investment projects in the traditional sense, which accounts for 73% of the portfolio, and credit lines, which account for 12%. In this year, the portfolio has moved to program-based operations, which are budget support programs. In 2019, the group approved commitments amounting to nearly 7.3 billion unit of accounts, of which over 5 million are for the bank and 1.2 billion are for the fund. Per sector, the bank is an institution specialized in infrastructure projects and which in terms of volume mainly provides non-concessional loans to the sovereign sector. 25% goes to transport, 22% goes to energy, and 19% to finance. Agriculture and water supply are 11 and 8% respectively. Per region, West and East Africa concentrates almost 50% of the portfolio, Southern Africa 22%. Say that in response to the COVID crisis this year, the bank has approved a 10 billion unit of accounts program, which does not involve new funding, but a reordering of the group's priorities for this year. The main feature, as I said in the other slide, is that the 60% will be budget support programs. Regarding procurement information, the new procurement framework came into effect in January 2016, and its main objective was to modernize bank's approach to procurement in projects it finance. Comprises a holistic approach with a new policy, methodology, manuals, and toolkit. The procurement toolkit has just been launched, and it is defined as a live repository which comprises near standard living documents, sample documents, guidance notes, formats, and templates. All the information can be found in the website of the bank in the link I have presented in my presentation, so you can see it there. You can go there, navigate, and get all the samples and the notes and templates. Well, regarding the procurement principle, the banks will always search for effectiveness, economy, equity, and efficiency. It is important to highlight the procurement relations because in the procurement process, because as you can see in the slide, the bank signs the loan agreement with the sovereign country. That is, the sovereign country is the country, the recipient that bids and awards the projects. The bank does not bid, and the bids, except in very specific cases, are made in accordance with local public procurement legislation. So as you can see in the slide, the beneficiary entity carries out the entire public procurement process, and the bank is in charge with disseminate the information and guarantee compliance with the principles at all stages of the projects. So the bank is not a party in the contract. Well, regarding procurement of goods and works, compared to consultancy services, not much to say, but just there is a slight difference between procurement of goods and services. In goods, the price is the major factor and there is no negotiation of price. Nevertheless, in consultancy bidding processes, there is a short listing first. Price can be a minor factor and negotiation is usual. The bank gives much importance to methodology and the solutions provided. Some statistical data regarding procurement. You can take a look at the slide. The top 10 suppliers of the bank are China with a 30. I'm not going to say the 10, just the 5. But China has a 31% of stake. Morocco has 6.4%, France 6.3%, and Tunisia and India around 4%. As you can see, there is a big difference in amount between the first country, China, that amounts to 4,636 million US dollar, and the rest of suppliers, for example, Morocco and France, which amounts to 970, 922 millions of US dollar. It is worthy to say also that the biggest step that China has given the banks, because China 5 years ago in 2015 has only 16% of the share, and Morocco had also 60.7% of the share, and now we see in 5 years China has doubled its participation in the bank contracts. Regarding Spain, in the overall, Spain is the 26th country in the bank's ranking of suppliers, and well, compared to its peers, let's say the non-regional countries, we are not as bad. We are on the top of the table compared with other peers. But let's forget about France. But with the rest of the EU countries, we are in the average. More concretely, regarding the Spanish data, Spanish companies have achieved positive results during the 5 last years, being awarded contracts for consultancy and goods and works for an amount of $131 million, while the number of contracts is more linear. We can see that the value varies a lot between years. In value, more than 85% of this amount correspond to goods and works, but not in number. It should be noted that more than 80% of the amount awarded to Spanish companies took place in Kenya, Morocco, Zimbabwe, and regional contracts. The Spanish companies that stood out most in terms of goods and works were AEP Power in Energy, well, it's AEE Power in Energy, La Fraga La Cambra and IASA in transport, Incoa Sistemas and Raesa in water and sanitation, and Riegos de Levante in agriculture. And in the case of consultancy, EPTISA, IDOM, ALG Integra, and TIPSA. Between these 2 last years, 2019 and 2020, that were almost services contracts, Spanish companies have been awarded contracts financed by the bank for a value of $5.7 million. All this information that I presented to you can be found in the link I provide you in the presentation, where a lot of statistics can be taken. Finally, just some tips and information. When I go to Africa, where do I go? Firstly, to the Economic and Commercial Office to get the general outlook. They are informed of the projects that are approved by the bank, by the board. They know the region and they have the experience on how to do business in the country. And of course, any concern that companies have, it will be transmitted to the advisor, in this case. The bank has regional offices and country offices. Depending on your needs, either regional or local, you should address one or another. And last but not least, you have me at the bank. The role of the advisor is more institutional, as we don't have a commercial mandate, but I'm always open to help any company if needed. Companies have to evaluate where to go if they want to contact the bank. In the headquarters, they will have the high level vision, maybe not the detail of each project. But in the other hand, regional offices and country offices can provide you with more concrete information regarding bidding processes, new projects, etc. Finally, it is difficult for the bank to attend to all the suppliers who want to present their services to them. The way the bank opens itself to providers are the business opportunity seminars that has been quite successful when they were face to face. The main documents you may look at always in a bidding process with the bank is going to be the project information, the bank's policy and procedures, the standard bidding documents, and the eligibility rules. All this information can be found in the website of the bank. I'm providing you in the presentation the different links. This first one is, well, it's just for corporate procurement, and then you have all the project-related procurement documents, notes, templates, and resources for big businesses. And that's it. I hope the presentation has been helpful. Thank you very much for your attention. And well, you have me in the bank for any help. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ana, just in time. Thank you. Okay, we continue with the next one. It's Mrs. Ana de Vicente. It's Economic and Commercial Counselor and the Economic and Commercial Office of Spain in Abidjan.
Sí, Araceli, one second, just before we continue. Ana, well, thank you very much. Has been a great presentation. I think we have a much clearer view of what is the bank. And we have already some comments requesting would it be possible to have the presentations, the presentations you are. So if you please could after we finish the seminar, provide Tecniberia with your presentations, we will distribute them among the associates of Tecniberia.
Of course, I did it for you. So I mean, I searched for all the links and all the information. So I'll give it to you once the presentation is finished.
Okay, thank you very much, Ana. Thank you very much. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
That's it. Ana, when you want.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Not yet.
Yes.
Not
Now,
yet.
okay. Yeah.
Yes. Wait. Okay. Well, just a moment. You can see it properly? Yes. Okay. And can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and I see properly.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Ana de Vicente, the Spanish Economic Counselor in Abidjan in the office of the embassy. And I'm gonna be very brief because my colleague Ana at the bank has given the most important information regarding the presence and the interesting part the presence of the Spanish firms in.
Anna,
Yes?
would it be possible to, if you put it in presentation mode, to see it bigger?
Wait a minute.
No, just in the PowerPoint presentation, make it or at the bottom of the presentation you have.
Yes,
that's the place. Yeah, now we can see it much better.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Much better. Okay. So, well, I would like to tell you very briefly what we do at the Spanish Economic and Commercial Office in Abidjan. We encourage exports and investments from Spanish firms in the Ivory Coast and also Burkina Faso and Guinea. We also manage the swap program between Spain and the Ivory Coast, or Côte d'Ivoire, as they say. We also coordinate Spanish public financial support for projects and export operations, and we monitor the Spanish contributions to multilateral projects. And additionally, and what is more important for you today in this seminar, is that we support the Spanish firms to take advantage of the business opportunities in the AFDB. And in that sense, our approach is to work in close coordination with our representation at the board. That is Ana Jimenez, who is the current councillor nowadays. And that means that we share all the information. And as she said, she explained, her role is very much institutional. That means that she takes part in the formal approvals of the projects, and sometimes she cannot give commercial information to firms. So the way we do it is she gives it to me, and then I can go and share it with the Spanish firms. In that sense, we have to keep a constant dialogue and confirmation of data and conflicts and issues of interest. And we also follow closely the bank's strategies in the main countries of interest for Spanish firms. It is true that we cannot process all the information coming out from the bank. It is impossible, but we are in general giving more attention to those countries that the Spanish firms have told us are of the utmost importance for them. So we see if another project has been approved, and we study the main pillars, and provide that information to the firms who come and ask for it. And we also update the information regarding the different stages in the project cycle. Some firms come and demand, do you know what happened with that transport urban project in Abidjan? Is it already in place? Has it been approved? And we update that information for the Spanish firms. And we also provide tailored information of procurement opportunities. You know that there is a very performing service in IFEX, which gives general information to firms about the opportunities. All the projects that have been approved in the development business system, they give an alert to the Spanish firms interested. But we since there is so much information, we send detailed emails to those firms who have come to the office or who have called and have shown the interest they have to be informed in detail about the projects of their particular interest, and which are really for them to be participating and being interested in the procurement process. We also facilitate contacts of ADB specialists and coordinate meetings. That means when a Spanish firm is interested in having particular information regarding a project, or they want to introduce themselves in the bank, they tell us, do you know who is the main the most important specialist regarding water and sanitation in the bank, who deals with this project in particular? So in that sense, we have some contacts. Our database is quite wide right now, quite rich, but we also ask for this information for a counselor, and then we put the Spanish firm in contact with that specialist so that they can share the information. And another important issue we do is to help to find local partners. It is not mandatory for some projects to be presenting the offer with a local partner, but sometimes it can be of much help, because it means that the Spanish firm is well rooted in the country where the project is going to take place, and that they already have a social partner, as a local partner, sorry, which may contribute to the sustainable development of the project in the long term. Then we also coordinate meetings to introduce the firm's strengths in the bank. That means that when there's one company or a group of companies, such as Tecniberia, who want to get the specialists to know what they do, we promote this type of encounters. Before the COVID-19, what we did was to organize meetings, personal meetings here in the bank's headquarters in Abidjan. Nowadays, that's not possible, and we do it virtually, but we hope that in the coming future, this will end and that we will be again capable of presenting firms in a presential way here in Abidjan. And then we also contribute to resolve potential conflicts in projects. Firms who are not being paid, firms who comply because there's a complaint because some part of the project cycle has not been working well. Well, we have the procurement specialists contacts, and we ask them, and we also ask our colleagues in commercial offices in other countries to tell us if they know the institution is still in the project in that country, if they can provide us with some more information. And so we try to help to solve this type of problem. Very briefly, our practical advice to firms wanting to have contact with the bank and wanting to have a successful approach in this multilateral area in Africa. Well, they have to envisage and to prepare a medium long-term strategy in the bank. We see that the firms which have been successful in the sense have not come once or participated once in the project and then never again, but they keep on trying, and they have a long-term view, because this is a competition. But if firms are technically strong and they have this view, they can start being successful for one project and then stay for longer term in their roster bank. Then another important issue is to select priority areas and countries, and not participate in all kind of projects in all kind of countries and areas, because that may not be very wise in the medium and long term. Thirdly, it is very sensitive and sensible, sorry, not to to avoid general presentations to banks specialists, to introduce a firm in the bank saying, we do projects in all around the world, we're very successful. No, in general, the bank's specialists are very busy people. They don't have much time to spend, and there is one firm wanting to tell them something new, something very important and exciting. It must be something different, and what they really appreciate is having solutions to problems and practical presentations, saying, we did this project in this country and we promoted this technical solution to a particular problem, and it was successful. So this is the kind of information they really, really value. And finally, we always remind firms that the bank is a financial institution. They provide with resources to countries to implement projects, but they are not the final institutions responsible for executing the projects and selecting firms. And in that sense, it is very, very important to do some work with the institutions in the country, in the Ministry of culture of Burkina Faso if the project is going to be implemented in that country. And also, it is important to touch, to have access to the bank's office in the country, because they are the ones who are going to deal with the project. Well, but this is in very brief terms what the Economic and Commercial Office can offer to Spanish firms, to Tecniberia, and we are happy to receive your questions, your remarks, your suggestions, and these are my contact details. Sorry, the contact details of the Economic and Commercial Office in Abidjan, and we really encourage you to ask things, to be in touch with us and tell us which is your approach, which is your interest regarding the business opportunities in the Africa Development Bank. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anna. Just in time again. Thank you for just to be on time. Okay, we continue with the next one. Is Stefan Achia, Infrastructure and Urban Development Department. Stefan, when you want.
Hola. Thank you very much for the presentation. Do you want me to make a quick presentation? Is that something that you? I have it ready on my laptop. Can I do this?
Yeah, you can share.
Fantastico.
Okay.
Can you see it?
That's it. Perfect.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the invitation. This is really interesting because the Department for Infrastructure and Urban Development is a very important one in the bank, and a lot of the figures that Anna number one presented initially, actually a lot of it actually.
Stefan, excuse me, I'm
Yes?
Pablo again interrupting. Sorry, but we are not seeing the presentation. We are seeing your screen. I mean yeah.
Is it okay now?
There. Let's see if.
Okay, so do I press something?
You know that there are two types of screens. The one that shows the presentation and what's coming as next slide, which is your own. No, this is. No.
It's fine.
Pero es que se ve la pantalla siguiente.
Just, Stefan, just try the display settings.
Press display settings.
Yeah. And duplicate show?
Well, at least like this will be okay. Yeah. Duplicate show.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's great. Now it's great.
Fantastico.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No problem. So as Anna was presenting, China being one of the largest for infrastructure, Morocco, Tunisia, France, those are the main workers. So I look after urban development specifically, so I will actually focus on that particular element. The structure of the department is something that just a quick element on this, but I will focus on urban development and not on the other elements. I see Mike Salao is there, so he will catch the part that he actually is working on. We have four divisions under the department. One that looks after transport and logistics. So you can imagine that transport is very important for consultancy work, from engineering consultancy, all the activities of transport, from railway, for ports, roads, of course, which is the largest, and so on and so forth, airports and so on and so forth. Urban development is now becoming something very important, as mentioned at the beginning. Africa is becoming more urbanized, so this is a new division, and we'll be supporting a lot of activities as well as specific components on urban development, including urban mobility. The third one is infrastructure partnership division. Mike will talk about this, and the last one is more the transaction on the private sector, what we call NSO, non-sovereign operation. A lot of staff already on the on the field, and then we can share our annual report later on with you, and so that you can actually go through it and get to know the names of the people who are in the field. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I think the first Anna mentioned what do we do at the bank. Transport is important for us. We've been at it for a long time now, 50 years plus now. And this was done a couple of years ago. We have to kind of update this. But you can see the share of what's happening around what we've been doing in transport for the last 5 decades. And it's evolving all the time. On average, the department, if you want to look at it from the sector itself, we land about $1.8, $1.7 billion every year. Last year it was 2.2 billion. So that is a kind of a magnitude from the transport and urban development side. Roads, of course, is the bulk of our activities. Roads is by itself about it represents more than 70% or something of our lending. Aviation is getting stronger. Ports are getting stronger. Urban development. This is a specific urban development project, but actually on the road projects you also have urban roads inside there. And then NEPADA PPF, and then Mike will talk about them. Those are kind of geographic location of where they are. We talked about, Anna was talking about the broad picture of the bank. If you zoom in from our side, you will see that roads is, if you look a bit to the right of the brown circle here, road is the mega of our active portfolio. Then comes rail and urban. Air transport is picking up. Ports and sea transport is still a bit the side which is actually getting more attention. And then you have the regional, and then you have here on the map where we're doing activities. So urban development. So I wrote in French. You know the issues, and I think our colleagues just mentioned this at the beginning, launching. I think Tecniberia, you know the issues as well as we do. We're going to end up as being the most urban population in Africa by 2045, which is next door, next very soon. So that's about 1.2 billion urban dwellers. So that's how we're going to get all the issues involved, which includes infrastructure and transport, housing, all the utilities from water, then sanitation, and then of course solid waste, as well as all the connections and so on and so forth. So we're talking about billions of dollars of investment in our cities. Some projects for if you want to it's always good to talk practice. What have we been doing? This is a project that was approved a couple of years ago, a mega project in Abidjan, where we're sitting. Although right now we're virtually sitting there. Includes bridges and ring roads and ITS system like intelligent transport systems and so on and so forth. And this is where I know that the Spanish have a lot of advantage, and they should get involved. Well, of course, a lot of since this is a 4-year-old project, a lot of the contracts have already been allocated, and Anna number 2 will actually tell you who has been there because she follows it from the ground. Dakar, the TER, the Train Express Regional. I know the Spanish, you're big time suppliers of rolling stock. So you do the engineering side and then the supply afterwards. This one was channeled for the French, but that's another element. You could actually have part of it, or you could be on other activities. I know in the case of my own country, Mauritius, the rolling stock for the light rail is actually supplied by the Spanish. So this was in Dakar. Again, a lot of upgrading of cities in Senegal. So a lot of things like planning, urban mobility. Those are kind of things that are currently being done. Interchange in Accra, as well as master plan for the greater Accra area is currently being done. So recently approved last year, so there's still room for winning tenders is 80 kilometers of upgrading of roads in the city of Kampala, and also a lot of components, specific urban components. Some of them financed by the ADF loan itself, and some actually financed by the GEF, the Environmental Fund. Dodoma Outer City Ring Road, same thing. The road itself is like a bypass of the new capital of so it's not a new, but it's now becoming more the important capital of Tanzania. And this one, for example, has also a whole bunch of components on how to improve the management and the operation of the city, both from the loan, the ADB loan, also with Jeff Grant. This one is actually managed by the bank. It's a digital master plan for this great city of Banjul. So that's piggyback with the port activity, and we're able to get some grant money here to do all the digitalization of two cities in Banjul, in the Gambia, including Banjul. We have something now called the Urban and Municipal Development Fund. So what Anna number one was saying, that the bulk of our activities are what we call beneficiary executed. That means the country will be actually doing the procurement. For the urban fund, and maybe Mike would talk about from his side what is happening on his side. From the urban fund, those are mainly bank executed. So that means we are the one hiring consultants. The bank is. So we'll provide the expression of interest. We'll send the RFP to shortlisted firms and so on and so forth to support municipalities. And what we'll be doing? We'll be mainly doing city plans, city governance, project preparation, and training, capacity building. So those are the four things we will do. And we are doing them. A lot of tenders have gone out. And I know that Spanish firms have been participating in those tenders this year. And then next year will be the same thing. There'll be plenty of activities. Those include city diagnostics, project preparations for various activities from environment to solid waste and so on and so forth. Speaking of that, I opened the bracket. We're currently discussing with the city of Bilbao, the region of Bilbao. To the region where Bilbao is, which is the region of, not Catalonia, it's the other one. Where they want actually to support us. Basque, bravo. The Basque country, and to help us and help cities in Africa for things specific that they have been very successful in, which is environmental management. So example of what we do is things like management of cities, urban mobility. This was done by a German firm, so we have more Spanish firms involved. So we also do a lot of what we call ESW, economic sector work, on our own side for managing our sector. And here on this slide here, some of the works that was done here were done by Spanish firms. In the case of the railway financing, that was done by ALG, a firm that sits in Barcelona. So, and there's been much more interaction with the Spanish firms as we go forward. So this is quickly an overview. I've kept to my lane, which is urban development, and I really look forward to have what be useful to us is like a list of firms, especially consulting firms that are in cities that work on urban mobility, urban governance, utilities, water and sanitation, solid waste, as well as basic management and financial management, land management, property tax, commercial tax, and so on and so forth in the city. So those are the kind of things that I would be specifically happy to receive from your organization to us. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stefan. We can move to Mike Salau, Division Infrastructure project preparation and fund.
Yes.
Mike?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And first and foremost, thank Mr. President Pablo for organizing this seminar today for us to talk to you and talk to you again, I would say, meet you and then exchange on how we can collaborate, collectively maximize our common interest, which is to help African infrastructure develop and also benefit and leverage on Spanish good reputation that we have, that we all know, and also the competence and the excellence of his infrastructure firms. So we are very delighted to be here today, as highlighted by my colleague Stefan. The bank is, Spain is a very good partner to the bank in many ways. We know that your current strategy for Africa shows an increasing interest for the region, and we are delighted to be the conduit for the Spanish government and also for the Spanish private sector to make that strategy a reality and also reap the benefit intended. Yes, indeed. So we have many instruments that we can deploy to make this happening. And my colleague Cavallo Epifano will make a short presentation now on our behalf. I just want to say that from our perspective, Spain represents what we really believe should be a model for partnership that we have with countries with a lot of expertise and then will and drive, and also the other country which is at the receiving end where those expertise are actually needed. So that marriage for us is actually a very good one that we like to maximize and also bring to reality. So I will let my colleague Epifano make a presentation, and then I'll come back in the discussion. Epi, please.
Okay, thanks, Mike, for the introduction. And just okay, we are in Pico 3, just infrastructure partnership division, and this is basically what we're doing. Just when you see on your left, where we're doing institutional capability, making sure that infrastructure knowledge and advocacy support under ICA 2.0. We're doing project preparation under NEPADA PPF. We're doing transaction support under PPP transaction advisory. We're doing infrastructure data and knowledge also under ICA. We're just doing also partnership. Then delivery modality is under Pico 3 division. But what are the partners that we do in this activity? We have JETCO, we have GWP, we have African Union Commission on policy side, you have UNECA, economic sector work, you have NPCA. Then we have also partners like GIF, PPFN is Project Preparation Facility Network. Then we have Africa 50, we have ILSF, African Legal Support Facility, we have African Water Facility, we have SEFA, you very know SEFA, those are partners also that we're working with. And then other partners is like IEF, African Investment Forum, ILSF again, we have PPIF, we have GIF, and you have AITP, you have G20, IWG, MDBs, SDIPs, SURS, and SIP. This is all the partners that we are working in order to deliver our mandate. And then what are the outcomes that we expect always in our mandate? The first outcome just means is enable environment for infrastructure financing, analytical work, focus on bridging the financing gap. That is our upstream engagement. Then you have business development, and then we have increased stock of bankable projects, the outcome here, pipeline origination. This is all outcome that we're getting from our intervention. Then we have financial structure and investment-ready projects, then PPPs, sovereign, non-sovereign, and the risking projects. And as outcome, we get also available disaggregated infrastructure data. The last outcome, we have access to best practices and the knowledge and the financial leverage that we get from outsource. Now, with respect to the first one, the Private Special Fund, I think that this one basically is one probably that fits with the opportunity that you are looking for. The role of the Private Fund is to assist regional member countries, regional economic community, to prepare high-quality, viable continental infrastructure projects in the economic sector, like energy, transport, ICT, transboundary water, to make them ready to seek financing from public and private sources. And then we discharge this mandate through targeting promotion of quality regional infrastructure project and program that is suitable for private sector and public sector financing. We provide grants to regional member countries, regional economic community, and SRDs for advancing the preparation of priority regional infrastructure projects and programs, which for high probability of implementation. We promote ownership and participation in preparation required to general quality projects. We are ensuring quick access to funds and quick disbursement funds approved to respond to priority investment programs. We support the creation of enabling environment for private participation infrastructure, as well as supporting the targeted capacity building initiatives in infrastructure development linked to specific physical investment activities that you are looking for. Now, what are the scope of our activities as we expansion, as I started saying? When you look at the scope, it's just enabling environment, project definition, feasibility, and detailed design, project structuring, and transaction advisor. We support financial close, and then non-project related activities. We do strategic, analytical, and evaluation work, which means doing strategic business plan. With knowledge generation, dissemination, and then donor outreach, stakeholder engagement, events, and roadshow. That's the scope of activity in the party. What is the sector? Our sector that we are focusing. As I said in the beginning, we focus mainly in the economic sector of infrastructure. I think that as a consulting engineering consortium, that one fits very well with your comparative advantage, this opportunity. Because when you look at sectors, we say that it's energy, transport, ICT, water, and capacity building. But then, yes, we can decompose that in subsectors. In transport, we have roads, aviation, maritime, railways, and multimodal. We have also in the energy sector, we act on generation, energy efficiency, electricity transmission, renewable energy, and the oil and gas pipeline. Then in transboundary water, then we also work on ICT, specifically in broadband, in fiber optic telecommunication assets. We're also doing institutional and technical capacity building. Why are we doing that? Because as you know, African countries have deficit in terms of institutions capable of managing infrastructure delivery. And this is the reason why we put a little money and then to give the required capability of this institution in order to be able to manage our project. Then, okay, next. Now, as we're saying, that the Nepali People Special Fund, just when you look at upstream, midstream, downstream, involvement. In upstream, we say we're doing capacity building, enabling environment, support and then to economic reforms that we need to carry out to support our executing agents in order to be able to implement and deliver infrastructure. In midstream, we have financial and technical support to regional infrastructure projects at different stage of preparation. And then in downstream, just we do like instruments to address challenges in private sector financing in Africa, like establishment of bank-wide PPP framework, which will be operationalized in 2021. We're working on this now with the PPP framework. We're introducing the reimbursable grant window, which means for a long time, the private PPP have been doing the concessional, preparing the bankable project that goes more to concessional window of the bank. Now, and most of them are the grant-based facilities. Now, last year, we started talking about how we can just start accommodating reimbursable grant. The intention of reimbursable grant is to make sure that we can process more private sector and PPP projects. But since it's a private sector project, we want to do that grant. If the project reach financial close, basically, the fund can get its initial fund that is funding the initial. That's what we call reimbursable grant. And this window has a lot of potential because as a private sector and in consulting engineering field, probably as the number of private sector projects and PPP projects will increase in the continent, then you're going to see the need of application of that reimbursable window. Now, the PPP overall portfolio of projects. What we have done so far as an institution, you can see in our reports, we are a very old institution. We were established almost in 2004, 2005. Now 2015 is 15 years of our existence. We have obligation to talk to you about what we have done. This slide, this slide represents our accomplishment during our 15 years of our existence. We're starting with just number of approved projects. We have approved 95 projects, and out of that 95 approved projects, 62 were completed projects, 9 were council projects, 24 are ongoing projects. Now, basically, what is the amount in US dollar? $11 million come from donors and FLB contribution. Now, we have committed at this point in time almost $99.5 million was committed by the party PPP. Out of them, we achieved $25.25 billion of financing raised for implementation of the project. That's $25 billion, $25.25 billion of financing raised for implementation of that project. In the project that arrived to financial close. Then out of that, you have 11.35 billion implementation finance raising. Then if we exclude in the project. Now, let's go to the project constructed. Then projects that are constructed, you see, energy sectors, what we have done, we constructed, just project that now physically is under construction or is constructed underground. We have OMVG, Gambia Senegal River Bridge. We have Douassala, Dolis, Brazzaville Intercapital Link. We have Benin, Togo, Ghana Electricity Interconnection. You have Gambia River Basin Organization, Electricity Caleta. You have Ethiopia Kenya Power Interconnection. You have Ghana Burkina Faso Power Interconnection. You have Kariba North. You have ITES. This is the project that now is under operation. It was commissioned, is currently is operating. You have CAMPEL, which means terrestrial communication. You have East Africa submarine cable. You have East Africa ICT backbone. You have maritime communication safety Lake Victoria. You have Central Africa ICT backbone. That's this project constructed. And the construction, currently, at this point in time, projects that the Nepali people support that have been constructed now. We have projects such as Kazangula Bridge, Rosso Bridge in Senegal, Mauritania. You have multinational Burundi, Rwanda Road. We have Port of San Pedro, rehabilitation of selected road sections of Central Corridor in Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi. You have Lake Tanganyika Transport Corridor. You have Ruzizi 3. You have North Core, Nigeria, Niger, Benin, Togo, Burkina Faso, electricity connection. It's 950 kilometer transmission line that links Nigeria to Niger, to Benin, to Togo, Burkina Faso, to provide electricity for Nigeria to this country. We done also Zambia, Tanzania, Kenyan electricity interconnection. We currently are doing OMVG, which is basically is a combination of transmission line and a generation facility. In terms of transmission line, this OMVG has a 1,607 kilometer transmission line that will link in 15 substations starting from Senegal, Guinea-Conakry, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau. That's the studies that the party prepared funded, and is under construction now. Okay, in terms of, we also, as I said in the beginning, we also just hosting infrastructure consortium of Africa. And that infrastructure consortium of Africa, the genesis of that, it was launched in Gleneagles, UK in July 2005. That infrastructure consortium of Africa secretariat is hosted within the African Development Bank. And what is our mission? Is strive to increase finance for sustainable infrastructure development in bank to help improve the lives and economic well-being of African people. As you know, the ICA donors, just G8 or G8 donors, mostly provide funding both for Nepal PPF to produce bankable projects, as well funding from ADF, ADB windows of the bank. Which means G8, which is the current donor of ICA, they play a very vital role in financing both in preparation of projects and then investment in infrastructure projects in the continent. That is, the donors of ICA. What is the value? The unique value of ICA is a unique platform for major actors in infrastructure space. Then it's advocating for critical investment and development of infrastructure in Africa. It is promoting of high-level dialogue for enabling infrastructure, enabling environment for infrastructure financing. It also generates useful knowledge in energy, as energy atlas, infrastructure financing trends in Africa report. That's me. And activities that mean under ICA supervision, we're doing things like provision of platform to accelerate infrastructure financing. We advocate for better governance in infrastructure development with quality and sustainable infrastructure. We deliver strategic analytical work to support financing infrastructure. ICA also is carrying out pool of capacity for project preparation through project preparation facility network. It is a network that brings together more than 18 project preparation facilities in Africa, which means then ICA also help mobilizing funding through a fund finder, just facility that we have basically. We put it through that instrument, we help in mobilizing funding for preparation of infrastructure. We produce social data and statistics through AITP, that's the statistic platform for production of data and statistics on infrastructure. And then the current members of ICA, as we said, is G8, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, UK, and then United States and Russia. And then now, I mean, we move to G20, which means that includes South Africa and Spain. Spain currently also is member of ICA. What are the multilateral agents that are working in collaboration with ICA members, current members also? The World Bank, International Finance Corporation, European Commission, European Investment Bank, African Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, they joined recently, and then Afrex, Afrex in Bank. Then from the action, from the African side, the Development Bank of Southern Africa, the West African Development Bank, BOAD, the African Union Commission, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, and the Park Secretary, out in the park, and the Regional Economic Community to participate as observed. That's his current member on ICA, which is an exciting platform that's trying to making sure that you're mobilizing funding resources for development and implementation infrastructure on the continent. As he said, because what we're talking about opportunities, if we do not have funding, those opportunities cannot be materialized. This is the reason why joining ICA makes all of the sense, because I mean, as a consulting engineering firm, I mean, you may have opportunities, but you need money to implement those opportunities. That's why ICA becomes a very important facility that contributes for just convening the donors' power to raise funding for this implementation. We are happy Spain joined ICA last year after our presentation in Madrid, because without funding, all these things, opportunities cannot be materialized. And that's why I said always, any partner that we're going to talk to, we have to remind them that part of it is there to provide bankable projects. But ICA is important because you need to have funding in order to study this opportunity. In order, once that opportunity becomes bankable, you need again funding to implement physical projects. It's like all these things end up to say we need to support ICA, infrastructure consortium of Africa. And then we're happy Spain joined ICA last year. We're counting on you to make sure that we deliver this ICA mandate that will help strengthening the development of infrastructure in the continent. Then what is the achievement of an impact of ICA so far? ICA generated critical knowledge like finance infrastructure, financing trends in Africa. Infrastructure financing trends in Africa, 2017-2018 report. And in that infrastructure financing trends in Africa, what the milestone that we reached in terms of funding or infrastructure in the continent, last year we get the $100 billion mark that were mobilized to funding infrastructure in the continent. That's the first time we reached that milestone, $100 billion mark. This infrastructure financing trend report just basically presented that clear. That means we were able to raise to mobilize $100 billion that went to finance infrastructure in the continent. Yeah.
Maybe I'm trying to look at the timer, so maybe
okay.
You can.
Then again, basically, what basically we have ICA. We have currently 3 platforms. We have knowledge and information advocacy platform. We have Africa Quality Infrastructure Hub. We have advocacy and coordination hub. What we're doing in the knowledge and the information hub is ICA flagship, IFT report, ICA police brief, newsletter, public relationship action plan, then new ICA P2P information platform. That is under the knowledge and information hub. The second platform pillar is African Quality Infrastructure. We're doing Africa Quality Infrastructure portal, developing guidelines and tools, ad hoc studies, and then we're doing all dissemination of activities of ICA. On the third pillar, we're doing ICA annual meetings, doing finance and enabling development platform, ICA sectoral platform, keep project preparation facility network. And then we're doing also contribution to other events such as IEF in African Investment Forum. Now, the potential areas of collaboration is ICA private sector advisor group, advocacy and experience papers based on global work, knowledge sharing on PPPs for project delivery, PPP facilitator between project stakeholders and project financiers. Now, as engineering consulting firms, I think the opportunity that you would like to have is the projects that we are now moving either through preparation stage or either they are prepared, they become bankable, they need to go for the financing. That's for the projects that you can see now on your screen. You're going to see project name, basically Ngozi hydropower project between Uganda, Tanzania on river. That's an opportunity. We're going to prepare this project. It's going to start preparation 2021. Another opportunity is multinational Uganda, Tanzania roads project. Then studies ongoing. Project to be complete in 2020. Once the project is complete, we're going to launch it. The executing agents, the owners will launch procurement process to recruit a qualified bidder to do this road. Or one of your strengths is the road sector. We're doing also Lamu Port development. Lamu Port, the study is ongoing now. The project is expected to be completed in 2021. We're doing also Guinea-Conakry deep sea port. The study is ongoing. We expected to complete the study in 2021. Guinea-Bissau deep sea port study is ongoing. Project to be completed also in 2021. The studies and in PPP structuring for Santome deep sea transshipment port. The study is ongoing to be completed in 2021. That's opportunity for you. And then we're doing also Ubangi River Bridge. Study is ongoing. Project to be completed in 2020. With the Angololo Multipurpose Water Resource Development Project. Study is ongoing. And then project to be completed in 2021. Ruzizi 4 hydroelectric power project. Then study is ongoing. The project to be completed in 2023. EAC rehabilitation of selected road. Their study is ongoing. Project to be completed in 2021. Corridor studies linking Bucheka Algerian border. There's then Tenet, Gafsa, Gabies, Tunisian border, Asua, Algerian border, Toze, Gabies, Tunisian border. That is in North Africa. The study is ongoing and they expect to be complete in 2020. Baines hydropower project. This is in the transmission line between Angola and Namibia. This is 400 kV transmission line project. This is all opportunity that you have for you to look at. Hopefully, as an engineering consultant firm with a range of companies with good capability of executing this project, I think the Nepal ICA provide to you the opportunities that you can look for. As you said, normally our procurement process, we launch the procurement, the executing agents, the owner of the project launch procurement process with bank support. But we end up announcing this procurement opportunity on the UNDP and then the bank's website. I think for the near future, the Nepal people also will be start announcing these opportunities for procurement of Nepal people in our own website, which is Spain is a member, is a donor of Nepal people, and it is also now joining ICA, which means all this opportunity you're going to be able to see it either on the UNDP website, either you're going to be see it on the bank website on Nepal people. I expect that based on my presentation gives you as an engineering consultant firm a range of opportunity in the economic sector infrastructure. When you say transport, energy, ICT, transboundary water, it's just for you to tap those opportunities. And then we here to facilitate to any kind of information that you think that you need to go for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And okay, we move to the last one. The last one is Mrs. Ines Ferguson, coordinator for the International Committee at Tecniberia. You want the next?
Okay, can everybody see my presentation?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yes, yes, it's fine.
I'm going to have to go quite quickly through the presentation. I only have a little bit less than 10 minutes. I just wanted to let you know before we go through very quickly through the slides that the international committee that I'm coordinating since early this year has been very active politically in Spain and also in Europe to make Africa a priority. So we managed to create a working group at a national level with all the other industries on what the Spanish private sector needs to have to be more active in Africa. So we created a very comprehensive report on all the elements in terms of financing, of diplomacy, of skills that we need to bring together in order to have a higher profile and a higher activity in the continent. These recommendations were forwarded to the Spanish Development Agency, and one of them actually has to do with having a fund for project preparation, in which we're actively working right now to make it a reality in the next budget line for the Spanish government. So we are working at a national level to deploy as many financial and technical instruments as possible to improve our presence in Africa, and also in Europe with the European Commission. We're in strong contact with DG DevCo and how to assist them as well in the use of the technical assistance funds to unlock more project investments. So just so that you know, you have a very good ally in Tecniberia and in this committee. And our challenge now is to really hit on the right buttons on what's keeping our firms from being more active in the continent, and we hope to do that as well with the assistance of the trade office in Abidjan. We see that there is a road to get there. We're not there yet. Our participation is still a bit timid, but we hope that this seminar and a more intense contact between Tecniberia, the bank, and the Spanish trade office is going to make an impact. So I will go very briefly through the slides. You will get the presentation. I just want to stop in a few messages. So Tecniberia represents the consulting engineering firms in Spain. It represents around 50 companies and 26,000 professionals in Spain, and also internationally through the Global Federation FIDIC, the European Federation EFCA, the Pan American Federation FIPAC, and also the National Industries Confederation CEOE. Definitely the asset of Tecniberia is its people. So our firms are about people. They're about highly qualified professionals that are highly committed to delivering projects even in the most challenging environments. They're adaptable, flexible. They bring the technological, environmental, social integrity standards to the projects. And they're able also to bring innovation, which is something that we need to do in order to move faster within the sustainable development agenda. So the main sectors we're specialized is civil, building and urban, industrial, ICT, and environmental. So there's a very good match with the bank. As our president was mentioning, we're integrated mostly by SMEs and working very intensively internationally. So close to 75% of our activity is outside of Spain. We need to be working and present in our critical markets. We need to really be close to our clients to understand what their needs and what their capabilities are to assist them. Where are we recognized worldwide? Well, whenever there is an infrastructure, an energy, an industrial and urban development project, we're usually called in. We tend to establish ourselves, the companies tend to establish themselves where they have projects. So we actually, the 50 firms are present in over 110 countries with over 450 offices. So this closeness makes us very spread worldwide, despite being, we're not the investors, we're not the contractors, but we have a very wide regional spread. And we are critical to unlocking these investments and making the projects move forward. So in Africa, as our president was saying, we have a bit of a presence deficit. We're definitely stronger in Northern African countries. There is a long way to go to, let's say, catalyze our presence in sub-Saharan Africa. But we still have some presence. We are present in 19 countries, and this is growing. We expect this to grow in the coming years, and to be more present. In other geographies, we're clearly consolidated: the Americas, Europe, Middle East, Asia, even in Oceania. So it makes sense at this point, given the importance of Africa with the international funding in Spain and in Europe, to make an effort, an extra boost to our presence in the continent. And just as a takeaway, the key messages of what we can offer as consulting engineering firms, well, we can bring our wealth of experience working in other geographies, and of course our interest in Africa is strong and growing. We promote international best practice. We're fully aligned with planning, designing, and delivering sustainable infrastructure and buildings. We have a very good track record in private projects and PPP concessions. As you know, the Spanish contractors and concessionaires are the top of the world. We're also good at making strategic partnerships and alliances for the project delivery. So we're kind of in contact with all the different actors and facilitating the project delivery. And of course, we need to promote and collaborate more strongly with local firms. This is the only way we could move projects forward. So in this respect, in order to take a leap forward, we definitely need to have access to early information, to have access to those regional networks and organizations that are critical in the African setting, and also be in contact with the strong local partners. So I think those are the three main areas. We need to work together with the bank and with the trade office, to the Spanish trade office, to reinforce our strengths in working in Africa. And just finally, I will go very briefly through some of the experience our firms have developed in the continent recently. This is just an extract, but we really hope it'll grow substantially in the coming months. So, for instance, the firm ProIntech has prepared, planned, designed, and supervised the new international passenger terminal in Algiers. The firm Sener has designed the Tanzania railway link with over 200 kilometers. Also, Sener has carried out the preliminary studies and the technical specification of the high-speed railway systems in the Fes-Oujah line in Morocco. Our member firm Centurion is actually working with the Kenyan National Highway Authority in developing and implementing a bridge management system, funding from the African Development Bank. So they're already working with your funding. TIPSA is leading a technical assistance project for the European Investment Bank to upgrade the capabilities in the road sector in terms of safety and climate change adaptation. ProIntech has designed and developed a GIS application for national water resources management systems in all of Tunisia. The company Ayesa has developed the Rural Sanitation Master Plan for the eastern region of Morocco. Also, TIPSA is working with Somalek in providing the engineering, the capacity building for the Boulenouar wind farm in Mauritania. TIPSA has also carried out a study for the regeneration of the Kampala capital city district. And finally, another example is INECO that developed a very comprehensive transport and mobility study for Rabat Saleh Temara in Morocco. So as you can see, it's mostly the larger firms that are present in Africa. We want the smaller firms to be much more active, and we want to move on just from Northern African countries to a much more important presence in Sub-Saharan Africa. And that's all for me for now. I hope I did well with time.
Thank you, Inés. It's fine because we are a little bit late, but we move more or less the time. Okay, now we can start with the questions. Yes, you only have to press the button from the hand up, please.
Okay, thank you very much. If I may, want to thank you for the great presentation that you all made, and I think we see the presentation being very complimentary from both Anna's presentation, which laid out the strategic angle from which the bank and Spain are collaborating, and also laid out the mechanism that Spanish government has put in place in their office here in Abidjan to really make the bridge between us and you and the project owners, which are the member countries. And then also Inés' presentation that we just see now about the offering, or that's Tecniberia offer, competences, the skills and the opportunities that are there, which we can actually work. I think I'm very pleased, to say that we already can see common ground. First of all, I would like to know on your project preparation facility, what is the mechanism for working together with you on that? Because I understand, if I understand correctly, you will be managing the fund from the Tecniberia, but you can do co-financing, or we can bring you in to jointly prepare a project. Can we draw on your fund? How do we work together on that project preparation fund that you're setting up? The second question is, I noted very well the three areas that you mentioned. How do you get early information about what's going on in Africa in terms of infrastructure? I think you're in the right place. My colleague AP mentioned the ICA, the ICA, and also the PPF and UMDF. The three instruments that we have are actually a mega source of information for opportunities. Early stage, mid stage, and even downstream. So we can give you the information that you require from the African Development Bank perspective, and beyond the African Development Bank, because we do work with other partners. So in terms of information, what's coming on stream, we are actually best placed to give you that information, and we'll be happy to do so. Access to institution, again, by the position from where we sit, we are at a focal point. We are, as you know, the bank is a leader in infrastructure development. So we work with African Union, AUDA NEPAD, the REX, the Regional Economic Community, the specialized institutions. Virtually all the policymakers and decision makers in Africa as regard to regional and continental infrastructure. So we can link you with those agencies also. It's something that we've been doing before with one, and also we'll be doing with Anna now, who's at the bank, and then Anna also in Abidjan. So we'll be happy to link you up with all those various institutions to give you much more closer contact with them also. So my question is really on the how do we leverage and work together on the project preparation fund that you have. Thank you.
Okay, if you allow me to answer that quickly. This is all in negotiation stages, so it's not really mature yet. But what is important is that we're making the steps to create it and to get all the necessary political agreements on the table. It's a process and it's not set up yet. So we will let you know if when it's available, and it would be very much tailored to bringing the Spanish capabilities and deploy them together with the local partners on the ground.
Okay. We have another question, Stefan.
Sure, thank you. First, a quick remark is because I generally participate in those business opportunity seminar from the department. I met a few years ago a lot of Portuguese in Abidjan, and I remember that the Portuguese were opening the line between Lisbon and Abidjan. At that time, it was doing daily flights. And suddenly you had a whole bunch of Portuguese. And when I look at the numbers from ANA, number two, on the amount of work that they're doing on the continent, there seems to be a parallel line between connection between the city of Lisbon and Africa, at least West Africa, and business going up. So you could say that China is far away, but Dubai and Addis are linked daily, twice a day, with main cities in China. So once you're in Addis or you're in Dubai, Africa is you're connected. So that's a side issue, but I don't know if more you show up on the site, the more you're there. Speaking of showing up on site, one of the things that I've seen from the Urban Fund, for example, which I look after, is we have the presence of the Nordics and the Swiss and the Belgians. The discussion I've been having is we want, but we don't want to be there. We're not sure. One of the things about trust funds is if you put a little bit of money, you are at the seat of the operational oversight committee on the small board, if you want. It doesn't. The minimum entrance fee, I understand from firm. Correct me, Mike, if I say something wrong. I believe it's something like $200,000, so 200,000 euros. I think that's the minimum you need to put into kind of entry ticket, which is little. It's nothing. It's not even a small study. And then you are at the seat where there's the discussion, and you're approving the work program for the year. So this is where I think sometimes the partners they think that it's going to cost a lot of money. Sometimes it does not cost a lot of money. Sometimes maybe €500,000, and then you are seeing everything that's happening on that particular sector. So again, and then a lot of Spanish firms would actually have a step up. They would know ahead of time what are the expression of interest being tendered out, and so on and so forth. Which on my sector, which is urban development. So the third question I had actually is more of a specific question to Pablo and Ines. Are all firms in Tecniberia, if you all Spanish firms are part of Tecniberia, and is it like a quality assurance that if they are members of your association, they are like A-OK? Or because I've been dealing with ALG and EDOM, I guess they are members of your association. But if they are smaller ones, do they mean that they're not so good? What kind of quality assurance that you guys provide? Thank you.
Stefan, I will answer to your question. But actually, our first intention was the Spanish firm to ask questions to you, not the other way around. In any case, there is no problem.
Indeed.
Since we do not have many questions from the participants, we will answer what you say. Tecniberia is the official national association of consulting engineering firms. It's a non-profit association, and the members of Tecniberia are the Spanish consulting engineering firms. We are representing the sector of the Spanish consulting engineering in front of the trade unions. We are discussing with the government on what are the conditions of the minimum salary, the conditions for daily work. We are the official member, the official Spanish member in FIDIC. So the Spanish member of FIDIC is Tecniberia, because the FIDIC members are the association of the different associations on the different countries in the world. And there is only one member per country. So the official member in FIDIC is Tecniberia. So we are a non-profit association, and our members are the consulting engineering firms. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. They provide consulting engineering services in several fields, in infrastructure, in transportation, in water, environment, I mean, in many fields, and they work all around the world. Some of them, but of course, Tecniberia is not a profit association. It's not a firm. Tecniberia is not going to develop a project. It's not going to develop a design. Tecniberia can facilitate to its members access to information, but it should be the member firms, the one to bid and the one to get a contract. Regarding the flights with Africa, well, I mean, Spain is part of Europe. There are direct flights from Madrid and from Barcelona to some countries. There are daily flights, more than one, to some countries in Africa, like Morocco. There are not to others, but as you were mentioning, from Lisbon, we have to Mozambique, to Angola, and well, so actually you should consider that there is always one step to go from Madrid to Schiphol. And from Schiphol, that's a local, it's a domestic flight. You don't need to go through passport control. It's a domestic flight. You can compare the whole Europe. You can compare it with China, but you cannot compare Spain with China. So I think that it would be, this is an opportunity, but we are not receiving many questions. You know,
no, I have one.
You have one. Okay. I was going to ask something.
You're ready.
We know that there is a, let's say, renewed interest, particularly with the COVID situation, with the pandemic situation, in private investments in infrastructure, PPPs, concessions, some of them to be developed through unsolicited proposals. So according to your charts, a very important part of these projects have been in the energy sector, a very large amount, some in the transport and a little bit in the ICT. What can we expect for the water or the urban sectors in this type of delivery method? And also, how does the bank envisage to work on unsolicited proposals? How are you going to filtrate, analyze, prepare those proposals? Because they could be also an important source of new investments for the region. Thank you.
I have one.
Okay, Stefan. No, Epi, let us respond to the questions. We are here to respond to the questions. So,
Mike, commence, je peux ajouter après, Mike, vas-y.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll start, then both yourself and Epi can actually come in. Yes, you're absolutely right. I think the two mature sectors for PPPs are energy and transport. Absolutely right. And if you see we'll share that report with you, the latest ICA report, which talks about financing trend, infrastructure financing trends in Africa. It corroborates exactly what you said, and actually bring to the surface also the issue why water sector and particularly the water sector is not coming up on stream for PPP problem. And there are several issues. One is the perception of the water sector as being a social sector, which has its also, its own, bankability problem. The issue of tariff here, attractiveness of private sectors in terms of how the whole sector is structured, a heavy government presence, and then the financial position of those utilities are also a problem. So water sector has been something that has not really benefited from their surge on the PPP side. But nevertheless, we are trying to do something about that. The bank is now developing its PPP framework, which is a way of enhancing the bankability of water sector. We do have a lot of water, a lot of gap, financing gap, infrastructure need in water sector. And we believe that, that will be a focus area for the bank going forward to make the water sector bankable, to address the structural issues, then to attack the issue of financial sustainability of the utilities to make opportunities of water, because water is present in other sectors. It helps energy, it helps agriculture, it helps all the other things. And the urbanization of Africa is also, another reason why we should actually tackle this. So we are working on that, and we'll be happy to share more and also link you together with our colleagues in the water sector. The second issue I would like to briefly touch upon is the issue of unsolicited proposal. It's true that this is a source of good investment, quality proposal to address the infrastructure need in Africa. It's true also that the bank current procurement policies and so on does not really promote unsolicited proposal. But it's something that we are seeing coming to the countries more and more, as you said, post-COVID and all that. And I think we will be seeing that, more in the future. One example right now is we're trying to help Senegal to negotiate on unsolicited proposal on the highway between Dakar and St. Louis. They have received unsolicited proposal. They have reached out to the bank to help them, advise them to see how do they tackle this thing. So there are consortium now that are for, I think, 2 or 3 of them that are sending unsolicited proposal. It's not yet closed yet. I think maybe Tecniberia might be interested with your members to see how you can also approach the Senegalese government on this highway between Dakar and St. Louis. So we are going to give them transaction advisory services to advise the government to make sure that they have a good deal, and also make sure that there's some form of competition enforced, even though it's a unsolicited proposal. I think that's the point where the bank is very pertinent, is to ensure that there's still element of competition in unsolicited proposal. And how do we make sure that that is there and is giving a value for money for the government, and then at the same time, have the government implement this project. So unsolicited proposal is like uncharted, way for the bank, and we are now getting more and more those type of offers coming from the countryside. From the countries. So we will be, paying more attention to that. But internally in the bank, we still need to discuss how our procurement strategy will evolve if the bank has to finance a project like that and the country using unsolicited proposal, because many PPP laws in many countries allow for that. It's now becoming a source of, a way of procuring projects, still ensuring quality, value for money, and so on. So we will be working closely with the countries, and then yourself in actually trying to address that. So Stefan,
Thanks, Mike. Ines, I think that's a very good question, Ines. Let me look at it in a different way for cities. let's look at some of the big works to be done on cities. Affordable housing, solid waste, water, sanitation, and mobility management. More than just your interchanges and blah blah. It's your mobility management. That means your bus operators, even formalizing your informal operators, and so on and so forth. Those are kind of the big groups. Now, unsolicited bids can show up, and if they have the agreement with, let's take a specific case, a concrete case, affordable housing. If the developer is happy to go for everything which is vertical infrastructure, and the local banks are able to, or private banks are able to go for it, then we at the bank, we can provide what we call bulk infrastructure. And I had a lot of discussion with our director, Mr. Maru, on where should we be actually on this particular sector of where should we position ourselves. And what is clear is what we can do, for example, in affordable housing, is provide all the bulk infrastructure and finance that for the water, sanitation, roads, power, and then viabilize viabilize the development so that then the private sector can actually go in. Now, it could be unsolicited, no problem, but they get their money from the commercial banks. So that's one example, and we're doing it, for example, in South Africa. South Africa, of course, is an area where there's a lot of very strong housing developers, and they are going it, and we'll be providing the gap finance from the bulk infrastructure, and that is the same for all the other activities that we just mentioned. So that's one way to skin that cat, which is actually to bring. We need to be innovative for this, and I open another bracket next week. Actually, we're launching this workshop for us to get to know our new guideline on subnational finance. That means that the banks since 2019 approved that we can actually lend directly to municipalities. So, but then again, the trick is either the municipality is strong enough on the balance sheet, so they don't need sovereign guarantee, or they will need sovereign guarantee for the Ministry of Finance. So that is a new instrument that we can do now, and we can actually go to Dakar and they can borrow, as well as state-owned enterprise. So I'll close it here. So that's a new opportunity. Thank you.
Hello, Mike. Hello.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, I want to compliment on Mike on the issue of water sector project. I think that basically the water sector project will have more opportunities and will have more permanency on our portfolio soon, because since we're talking about the bank is developing a PPP framework. By developing PPP framework, what we're going to have? You're going to have a capacity in our division to host transaction advisor and then structuring in capability that will help identify projects that may have problem with you may not be just basically bankable, but when you put viability, gap funding, it becomes viable. That case of water sector project. Most of the projects that the bank approves, energy, transport, those things, is easy to deal with. You see always how you can put the money to fund that. Water, we had difficulties for a long time. I think that the secret of just getting more water sector project in our portfolio is this PPP framework, because this PPP framework will bring instruments like viability funding gap. That viability funding gap, once it's in the project, you will have a lot of water projects that may be qualified for viability funding gap that will allow African countries to benefit for funding of water projects. Yeah, that's basically because, as you said, most of our countries is low-income countries, and the water sector is not commercially attractive. When you look at the way that basically you will fund water, and you see, okay, the revenue that you're going to get for the users, it may not mean cover the expenditure of both capital and then operation expenditure. Then it becomes not viable project. But now, as the PPP frameworks will establish a facility to structure and then advise countries in the PPP project, water sector project, water sector will come up under those radar. And then when the bank agree on putting viability gap, that will allow to unlock a lot of water sector project in African continent. Otherwise, basically, the simple response is that most of water sector project, when you look revenue and then expenditure, you don't have enough money to cover in the expenditure. That's why they always disappear in the project, basically, on the most exciting project in bank portfolio. But now, with this PPP framework and with eventual establishment of viability gap funding, you're going to see many water sector projects come as a priority for bank funding projects.
Thank you, Epifano. I would like to ask something to Ana. Ana, as you are the chair of, well, the Spanish chair in the bank, I would like to say that I was astonished to know that 30% of the projects that are financed by the African Development Bank are awarded to Chinese firms, 30%. And the Spanish return was around 0.86. I remember. I wrote it down when you during your presentation. Wouldn't be reasonable to establish a maximum award to some country, let's say twice their share in the bank or 3 times their percentage of share in the bank, because this doesn't make any sense. Another question I have, and well, this might be also another suggestion, is that, we are very much worried about integrity and corruption. The European Union, the external aid of the European Union has changed its policy during the years. There was a time where the external aid of the European Union was centralized in Brussels. Later, because they didn't have enough capacity to manage this aid, they did budgetary support to the different countries. The corruption grew a lot when this happened with the local procurement systems, and the European Union changed its policy and decided that their external aid was going to be managed by either directly the Commission, or they will delegate the management to the agencies of the different countries. What I have seen in your presentation, I just want to, when the consulting engineering firms, when they work for the KfW or they work for the French external aid in any country, not necessarily in Africa or in Latin America or in Asia, they are paid in their headquarters. If a Spanish firm works for KfW in Nicaragua, is paid in Spain for their services. This, because, when you work under the local conditions, you pay taxes. So part of the money goes to taxes, goes to and sometimes not all of that money reaches the. Is there any possibility, or is in your mind that the bank will impose their procurement system? And then regarding the PPPs, the P3s that you were mentioning, we all know that there is enough money in the world to finance anything. Finance, if you understand finance as pay in advance, the problem is to pay back your investment. And unfortunately, the problem of Africa, when we talk about a bankable project, it means the Maasais are going to be able to pay back the construction of this water project. So unless we find a Marshall, a big aid for Africa, is very difficult for Africans to pay back the loans and investments. So, well, I just open all these ideas. We, after the Second World War, some countries like Germany and others in Europe received a lot of aid, you know. Africa needs something like this, because actually after so many years of African Development Bank, Africa, we could even say is almost worse than when it was when the African Development Bank was created. So I don't know if it is too small or what's going wrong, but we are not reaching our objectives. So I leave this for debate, Anna, or whoever wants to comment on what I open.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
I want to comment.
Please, Mike, allow Anna to say something, because sure. Pifano and Stefan, you have already been talking a lot. Let them, and as being part of the board of directors, she may have some idea.
Absolutely.
Well, I can start the debate, but exactly, it's a very, it's a very big debate talking about the impact of development aid in the country. So this is quite extensive. Nevertheless, I will go to the detail, and well, I've been in the bank for 2 or 3 months, maybe. I know for sure Mike and Eki have a very broad understanding of the bank and the procedures, but for example, regarding the procurement processes, I don't know, the Spanish agency in the different countries, they are not bidding themselves. The procurement processes are made by the host, the host countries, the beneficiaries. It's, as in my experience, is a regular practice, and it's more based in also building capacity in the countries and building governance in the countries. So in this way, I mean, you work in 2 lines: the financing for the projects, and then you are helping the country to get better procedures, more knowledge, more governance in public procurement. So, well, and on the other hand, it will be almost non-manageable to make the bank leading all the bidding processes in all the countries, from projects from 500,000 to projects of 200 million. The bank is there to assure and to guarantee that all the steps are covered, that all the guarantees are met, and of course the bank, I mean, is not just leading the process to the country, and that's it. It has several non-objection steps where the bank do its oversight. As for the payments, well, it's the same. I mean, the loan agreement is with a sovereign country, so the sovereign country will get the money and will repay. Yes, of course, there is another big debate now, or another big concern about that. This distress because of the pandemic now. Something that is on the table on almost all the world. The bank is always very careful with the conditions of the lending, and of course afterwards work with the countries so they can be able to pay back the money. For the moment, we don't have so many arrears on the loans. You were telling me about the European Union. Yes, the European Union also. I think it has mixed bidding processes, because in my experience also, when I was in Latin America and Central America, a big part of the budget of the EU was directly given to the countries, so the countries make its own bidding processes. That's it. Maybe Mike and Ed, you want to, or Stefan, or maybe Anna, they want to enrich my answer. That's
yes.
it from my part.
Okay, no, thank you very much, Anna. I think just briefly, the issue of China, just to contribute to that, I think.
I didn't speak about.
Yeah. No. Go ahead, because that's a very important question.
No, but I just forgot China. Establishing this kind of limits by country, it's difficult. I mean, for the moment, it's not been envisaged. The procurement principles of effectiveness, and equity and efficacy, I mean, it's a quite complicated issue to put some caps per country. Maybe you can leave several procurement processes not cover. Maybe we are promoting other countries that have different costs, different pricings. It's not a thing that on the board is discussing right now.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to add to what you have just said on China. The bank procurement policy is a very equitable one, fair, transparent. And I can say for China that, looking at the numbers and everything, one of the key things that plays in their advantage really is their competitiveness in terms of pricing. I think the bank most formula that we use in procurement policy is a combination of technical quality and pricing. So by the time you finish the technical quality, maybe Spanish firm are number one, or French number two, China number three. But if you now move to the financial evaluation, and you see Chinese firm is bidding at a slightly lower cost compared to Spanish or French, and then you do the mathematical combination. I mean, we have a formula for that. If you apply the formula correctly, then you can be surprised sometimes that China will just come up. Although technically they were not number one, but if you put a technical, which maybe 70% of the weighting, and then you apply the 30% of the weighting to financial, because it's a bit low, they carry a lot of weight. And then if you combine the two, but anybody can emerge if you have somehow good quality and then very good pricing. Then you become number one. So I think that combination has helped a lot in Chinese context because they have been pricing wise. I know they've been very competitive in bidding. So
you are right, Mike. Actually, normally the bank is 80-20, sometimes 70-30.
Exactly.
But the problem is that for the economical valuation, there is a clear formula where the different prices have different valuation, different points. And if you do not make some distinction between the technical proposals, if the technical differences are very, very little, regardless, the formula says that the weight for the technical proposal should be 80%. At the end of the day, it is the price what makes the difference. Just imagine two companies with the same technical valuation. What is the real weight of the technical valuation? Is zero, is 100% price. If so, the formula for the price makes distinctions, but there is no formula for the technical valuation that obliges the local agency, the local government, to distinguish and make distinctions between the. So sometimes we might think that we are valuing our proposals by 80-20, being 80% the technical and 20% economical, but the reality is that we are doing exactly the opposite. Many times it's 95% price and 5% technical. Because of this.
One second, Pablo.
So this is something that you should have in mind.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in here, Pablo. I think we are mixing oranges and apples and potatoes here. Anna, your numbers, when looking at the share of the Chinese involvement in bank activity.
That's another thing.
We have to, no, wait. We have to look at works, goods, and services. What the numbers are looking at, Anna, correct me, they are mainly on works. Those are contractors.
On construction.
Pablo, you're not talking, exactly. So if you're talking about, if you're talking about consultants here, so we're talking about services, consulting for services, design stuff, then the Chinese are not so present in the design stage. Correct me, Mike, if I'm saying something.
That's true.
The Chinese
that's
are
true.
not,
That's
so present there.
I was shocked.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you are shocked at works. You are shocked at works.
You're right.
That means you're talking about contractors here.
Construction, yeah.
That is, and to be true, Pablo, that what the idea from Europe and from maybe US is that the Chinese, they were only there to do very simple, low quality work. That's finished. Finito. Now they can do Star Wars. Now they can do the things from space. Okay, so that has also changed. Now on the consulting firm, that means services and even goods, but especially services, that means the design, they are not so present. They are, I mean, from my side, from urban side, maybe Mike, you can see from water, energy, and other parts, and maybe energy, they are not so present. So there's still room to fight on this one for services. And maybe Anna, when you do that presentation, you need to refine your numbers to show what is the spread on services, what is the spread on goods, and what is the spread on works. Then it will give a real picture to Pablo and other partners.
Stefan, thank you very much. Actually, you clarify, this is a very important point, and you clarify it very well. Well, Araceli, I think we have to finish.
We are up to 10 minutes.
So
Yes.
we have to thank you very, very much for your help. All of you, both Annas, before we started our conference or our webinar, we were saying that this was a square Anna, because there are two Annas here.
And
so,
1, 2.
Thank you very much, both of you, and thank you very much, all of you from the African Development Bank that have, I mean, you dedicated your time and you have given us very good presentations, and this is a good help for the Spanish consulting engineering firms on what are the plans of the bank and how they can contribute to the development of Africa in the coming years. So if you could please share your presentation with our association through Araceli, our executive Secretary General, and it will be very helpful. We will share with all the members of the association. So Araceli, Inés, thank you to all of you. If we don't have if you want to add something else, we don't want to consume much more from your time. Really, we appreciate your effort and your contribution. Thank you really very, very much. Araceli, do we need to add anything else or any general message to our...
Thank you all of you for your cooperation with the association, and we are in contact.
We'll keep in contact. Our next seminar is about the hydrogen. This is next week, isn't it, Araceli?
Yeah, next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
The seminar, but this is not African Development Bank. This is worldwide. Worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. I will keep in touch. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Muchas gracias.
Goodbye to everybody. Thank you.
Bye.